our heart. So we can sing the song number 1, I have arrived, I am home, okay, to welcome anybody. I have arrived, I am home, in the here and in the now. I have arrived, I am home, in the here and in the now. I am solid, I am free. I am solid, I am free. In the ultimate I dwell. In the ultimate I dwell. Number 1, anybody? We sing together. I have arrived, I am home, in the here and in the now. I have arrived, I am home, in the here and in the now. I am solid, I am free. I am solid, I am free. In the ultimate I dwell. In the ultimate I dwell. So in our monastery, when we feel happy, agree for something, do like this, okay? This is a flower. So for this, we can continue with the song number 2, okay? With the song breathing in and breathing out. And for the children, you can look at the sisters and brothers up here. You can do also the movements, okay? These songs, visualize ourselves with the movements, like a flower, blooming like this and fresh, okay? The water reflecting. So we can do some movements with the songs. And all of us, please, we invite all of you to sing together with us. And every verse can be put into a practice, okay? So breathing in, and then you feel you are breathing in, okay? Breathing in, breathing out, smiling, breathing in, breathing out. I am blooming as a flower. I am fresh as the dew. I am solid as a mountain. I am firm as the earth. I am free. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. I am water reflecting what is real, what is true. And I feel there is space deep inside of me. I am free, I am free, I am free. So, you want to invite all children come to sing with us? Okay, so we sing one more song. Number 4, okay? Number 4, okay? Number 4, the song we call the I Am Home. So we sing the song. When we come to monastery, you feel that you are at home. And look like we are just singing, I have arrived, I am home. And these songs also something like that. But when you come back to yourself, you get in touch with your body. You get in touch with the elements of the rain, of the earth, and the water, the air, the breathing, and the sun, the warmness inside your body, inside your heart. So when you come back to feel your body, you also feel you touch your home right here and right now, okay? So we invite everybody can sing the song number 4. It's very simple. We can sing the first one, Awaken Spirit of the Earth, I feel you grow in me, twice, and then I am home, I am home. And then you see, we continue with the rain flow, and the wind blow, and the sunshine, okay? Awaken Spirit of the earth, I feel you grow in me. Awaken Spirit of the earth, I feel you grow in me. I am home, I am home, I am home, I am home. Awaken the spirit of the rain, I feel you flow in me. Awaken the spirit of the rain, I feel you flow in me. I am home, I am home, I am home, I am home. Awaken spirit of the wind blowing. I feel you blow in me. Awaken spirit of the wind, I feel you blow in me. I am home, I am home, I am home, I am home. The sun, awaken spirit of the sun, I feel you shine in me. Awaken the spirit of the sun, I feel you shine in me. I am home, I am home, I am home, I am home. We are home, we are home, we are home, we are home, we are home. So I think monastic here, ready? So dear Sangha, I think after this we invite all monastic sisters and brothers who come up to offer chanting before the Dharma talk. Thank you for tuning together with us.
Kính mời đại chúng, sáng hôm nay mình sẽ tụng From the Depth on page 15 and Tán Cát Tường on page 2.
Contemplations before chanting. The Sangha is invited to come back to our breathing so that our collective energy of mindfulness will bring us back together as an organism, going as a river with no more separation. Let the whole Sangha breathe as one body, chant as one body, listen as one body, and transcend the boundaries of a delusive self, liberating from the superiority complex, inferiority complex, and the equality complex.
From the depths of understanding, a flower of great wisdom, the Bodhisattva stands majestically upon the waves of birth and death, free from all affliction. A great compassion eliminates all sickness, even that once thought of as incurable. A wondrous light sweeps away all obstacles and dangers. The willow branch once waved reveals how rest through the land. A lotus flower blossoms a multitude of practice centers. We bow to her, we see her true presence in the here and now. We offer her the incense of our hearts. May the Bodhisattva of deep listening
Good morning, dear community. The first part of today's talk will be for the children. So if you're not shy, I would like to invite all of you to come up here and sit with me. I'll give you a short exercise, and I'll tell you a couple of stories, and then you can go out and join your program. Thank you. You can bring your cushion if you like. We can sit in front here. You can gather here. So you can sit facing your parents, or you can sit in whatever you like.
Wherever we like?
Yes. Maybe facing the parent. They look very pretty down there, right?
What?
They look kind of.
Oh.
Wow, there are a lot of you. Wonderful. Okay, so let us do an exercise together. But first of all, I'd like to welcome all of you guys to our retreat here at Blue Cliff. Can you hear me okay over there? Awesome. Okay, let us sit beautifully, keeping our backs straight but relaxed. And we ask our parents and uncles and auntie and friends to do the same, to support us. We can bring our mind back to our body by way of paying attention to our breath. There is an in-breath that goes in and an out-breath that goes out. And if you want to feel it more, you can place your hand, one of your hands or both, on your belly. And notice when you breathe in, your belly sort of inflates, sort of grows, right? And then when you breathe out, it sort of flattens.
It's kind of like a balloon.
Exactly. So when you breathe in, it kind of inflates, and when you breathe out, it deflates, right? Okay. And as we will be hearing 3 sounds of the bell. And I would like to invite you for the first sound and the whole duration of the first sound of the bell. You just observe your breathing. See, oh, it's coming in, the breath coming in, the breath goes out, and in and out. You don't need to force it, you don't need to breathe deep, you don't need to do anything. You just pay attention and let it does its own thing. Do you think that's possible to do? We'll try. So again, the first sound of the bell, we just do that. Just noticing the breath coming in and going out. And then when you hear the second sound and the third sound, I like you to see if you can start counting, but silently in your head, not out loud. 1 in breath, 1 out breath, you count 1. In, out, count 2. You think you can do that? We can try. Now, we're not doing any competition. It's not about how many breaths you can take in and out for each sound of the bell. It's just so that you can see if you can remember how many breaths. That's all. Again, so first sound we don't count. We just observe in and out. Second and the third sound, we start to count silently in our head. In and out 1, in and out 2. To however many. We don't need to breathe very fast to get more count. That's not the point. Just breathe regularly. Okay, and at the end of the third sound, I will ask, if you wish, you can share how many breaths you took for those 2 sounds. Okay, are we ready? Okay, let's sit up beautifully. We can choose to close our eyes and have a light smile on our face and listen to the sound of the bell. Okay, wonderful. Let us open our eyes. And anybody would like to tell me, if you raise your hand, how many breaths did you take?
17.
17.
35.
18.
15.
11.
How about you?
I don't want to share.
No problem.
I don't want to share.
Don't want to share.
30.
30? You sure?
Yes.
Anybody else? 21. Okay. 12? Okay. Thank you so much. You see, we are different. We don't have to have the same number. And that's because of our lungs. Maybe we have smaller lungs, maybe we have bigger lungs, and maybe our breath is long and my breath is short, so that's not important. Important is that we are aware that we're breathing. So usually if you find yourself nervous or excited, your breath is usually quick, right? You breathe very quickly. But if you find yourself more calm, more relaxed, and what happened to your breathing? It's slower. It's more calm. And so that's a good exercise. So whenever you feel nervous, or you feel maybe angry, or maybe you're upset, you can practice this. You can find a place to sit down and you just breathe. Observe your breathing. And after a while, it will calm down. Or even if you find yourself a little bit too excited, and you want to calm down, you can also do this exercise. You can come back to your breath. Breathe in, breathe out a few times. We may not have a sound of the bell, but we can practice.
My dad has a bell.
Your dad has a bell at home? Okay, so when you're at home and this happened and you want to practice, you can come to the bell and invite them. You know how to invite the bell? Not yet.
I do.
You do? Wonderful.
Well, first you have to wake it up by tapping it lightly, and then you invite it by tapping it a little harder.
All right, that sounds wonderful. Natural bell master right here. So if you haven't yet learned how to invite the bell, maybe in your program this week, you can ask the monks and the nuns or your facilitators in your group to show you how to invite the bell. But if you don't have a bell, it's okay. If you're at school, you don't have a bell. But if you find yourself, you want to be calm, then you can also practice your breath. Nobody has to know, you just breathe. You think you can do that? All right. Now, I have a couple of stories to tell you. Would you like to hear some stories? Yeah? Okay. But let me ask first, how many of you here for the first time ever being here at Blue Cliff? Wow, a lot. And then, okay, you can lower your hands. And then those of you who have been here before, raise your hand. All right, okay, so maybe you heard this story already, but I will tell again for your friends who are new. Is that okay? So there are two stories. The first story is about the little prince and a swan. Anybody heard this story before? Okay, that's good. So the Buddha, before he was a Buddha, he, okay, no problem, come closer. The Buddha, before he was a Buddha, he was a little boy, a young person like yourselves. Come, it's so lonely over there. But if you wish, no problem. So one day he found himself playing in the courtyard. And all of a sudden he saw a swan flying across the sky, but then it fell down at the far corner of his courtyard. So he ran over and found a swan was injured. There was an arrow piercing one of his wings. And it's just a small swan, so he was able to pick it up and went and find help to take out the arrow and to find something to put on the wound so that it would stop bleeding. And then he found a blanket to cover the swan, and he stayed with the swan. And then a little bit later, one of his cousins ran over and looking for something. And so when he saw the prince, his name is Siddhartha, and his cousin's name is Devadatta. So that Devadatta asked, Siddhartha, have you seen a bird, a swan, falling down? I saw it fall in the courtyard. And Siddhartha sort of not want to let him know, but he did. He said, yes, I did. And so Devadatta says, where is it? I want it. It's mine. And so it happened that the arrow came from Devadatta. He shot the swan down. And so he came and wanted to claim it. But Siddhartha did not let him take the swan. Siddhartha said, no, the swan needs me more than you because it was hurt. Now, let us imagine a little bit. If we were the swan, we're having pain, right? Because our wing is injured. Now, would we want to be with Devadatta or would we want to be with Siddhartha?
Siddhartha. Why? Because he helps him.
Anybody else? Why would you want to be with Siddhartha? Signantan. I don't understand. Oh, you want to be with Siddhartha, sorry. Okay. Anybody else? Because you wouldn't want to be with the person who injured you. That makes sense, right? That's very common sense. And so that's what Siddhartha shared exactly with Devadatta. Said, I think if I was a swan, I would rather be with the person who rescues me and takes care of me than the person who injured me. But Devadatta wouldn't have it. He ran to the older people in the palace and complained. And so all the adults came together and have a court to decide on who has the right to keep the swan. And so, of course, Siddhartha presented his case and Devadatta presented his case. And you know that because in that kingdom and his family, they were all from the class of hunter and merchants. And deep down, they probably want to side with Devadatta. But because Siddhartha was the son of a king, so they sort of like, okay, we're just gonna get this slide. So they went with him. So he was aware of this. So Siddhartha won in the end. So he was able to keep the swan, to take care of the swan. And when the swan was well enough, he released her and she flew back to the sky. So he did a good deed, right? But deep down, he wasn't truly happy because he saw that the adults agreed to take his side, but not because on his argument alone, but because they fear his dad. So there's a little bit of subtlety there. But in the end, the good thing was that the swan was rescued and not harmed. And so so Siddhartha has an understanding of what suffering is he felt for the swan, and from suffering, he was able to feel compassion to the swan and to help and protect the swan. So we all can do that also in our daily lives. The second story is about a little girl and the starfish. Many starfish. I don't know if you say starfishes or just starfish. But this is a more modern story. So one day, a little girl took a walk on the beach, and she found many starfish lying on the sand. So they sort of looked like they were stranded from the water. And so she decided to pick one up and then toss it back into the ocean. And then she went a little further, she found another one, she picked up and she tossed into the ocean. And she kept doing that for a while. So there's another person came along and asked her, why are you doing this? It's not helpful because there's so many of them on the beach. But the little girl just answered, the person said, it's not gonna matter. You're not gonna help all of them. But the little girl said, it matters to this one. And she tossed it into the ocean. And she kept walking and she tossed into the ocean. Now, she may not have the time to do all of it, but she tried her best with what she has and the time that she has. That's all that matters. When you help even just a little creature to feel safe, that's already enough. And so, because of those two stories, I was asked to share with you the two promises. Now, how many of you, I'm sure those of you who've been here know of the two promises? Anybody remember? A little bit, sort of? Okay. So would you help me to teach your new friends those two promises? One is understanding, like Siddhartha had, with the suffering of the swan. And second is compassion, helping and protecting the swan. Okay, so we will practice together. We will read section of it so that we can try to memorize, and then we'll sing. Okay? The first line, I vow to develop understanding. Together? I vow to develop understanding. One more time. Okay. And then what else?
In order to live peacefully with people, animals, plants, and minerals.
Wonderful. But let's break that down a little bit more. In order to live peacefully. 2, 3. In order to live peacefully. One more time. Okay, and the last part. With people, animals, plants, and minerals. 2, 3. With people, animals, plants, and minerals. One more time. And then this second part is more fun. Ah, ah, ah. So we breathe. And then the second line.
In order to, I vow to develop compassion.
Wonderful. I vow to develop compassion. In order to protect the lives of people, animal, plants, and minerals. Okay, thank you. Now we can sing. And if you remember, this song has some hand movements, right? So those of you who remember, can you help? Okay, do the hand movement. So we'll sing it a couple of times. And if those of you who don't remember, or those of you who are new, you can watch your friends and we can do the same. Okay? We'll try. I have to hold a microphone, so I only do one hand. I vow to develop. Okay, let us learn the gesture first. I vow, we put our palms together. To develop, we go like this. Like we're building a wall, building something. To develop, understanding. I vow to develop understanding. And then in order, thank you. Like you place things in order. In order to live peacefully. Same thing, to live peacefully with people and animal. You can do any gesture to represent your animal, the animal that you like. Maybe a rabbit or an elephant or a monkey, something. Okay, so people, animals, plants like this, growing, and minerals, like pebbles and rocks. Okay? Again, I vow to develop understanding in order to live peacefully with people, animals, plants, and minerals. Okay. And the second part, I vow to develop again, but this time, my compassion. Compassion, you put cross your heart. Or if you wish, you can do this is like a heart-shaped sign. Okay, and then the rest is the same. In order to protect the lives of people, animals, plants, and minerals. Okay, let us do this together. Ready? I vow to develop understanding in order to live peacefully with people, animals, plants, and minerals. Animal, plants, and minerals. Breathe. I vow to develop my compassion in order to protect the lives of people, animals, plants, and minerals. Animals, plants, and minerals. Thank you so much. So when we hear the sound of the small bell, all of us, the children, will stand up. And then when we hear the second sound, we offer a bow to our parents, aunties, and uncles. And then we follow our brother and sister to our program. Okay? Thank you again for your presence and participation. Have a wonderful day. Okay, we join our palm with the second sound. We give a deep bow. Okay, please bring back your cushion. Have a good day. In my early years living at Deer Park Monastery in California, I had the opportunity to be in the children program. I remember I caused a lot of trouble for the monks and the nuns there, playing too much with the kids. And so now, I don't think they will let me play with the children again. So every chance I get, when asked to offer a children's talk, I am happy to oblige. And you can see why. They're so adorable. Okay, let us listen to one sound of the bell. We bring our mind back to our body and enjoy the in-breath and the out-breath together. Good morning, dear teacher, dear community. Welcome to again to Blue Cliff Monastery. Today is August 10th, 2023, and we are in the Great Togetherness Meditation Hall in the Family Retreat, which part segment Blue Cliff Monastery, part of the U.S. tour. Since this is a family retreat, I like to take a moment to acknowledge and to honor all the children, all the teens, the young adults, parents, grandparents. We have biological, step or adoptive families. We have families of single parents, families of having a mom and a dad, families having two moms or two dads, families of mixed or multi-races, multi-culture, perhaps family members of various identities and orientations. Perhaps you are here as parents, but without your children, or perhaps you are here with no children. And perhaps you are single, but you like being in this type of environment and to lend your support. So that's why you're here. And so I like to welcome and to hold all of you in our hearts. And thank you so much for being here with all of us residents here. This retreat, I think last night Brother Pháp Khong asked by a show of hands who are here for the first time, and it looks like it's about a third to a half of you who are new, and that is wonderful. We'd like to welcome all of you, and of course welcome all of you who have been here year after year. Yesterday I was greeted by a pair of mother and son, beaming with joy. The mother informed me that this is their 9th year coming to the family retreat. And the young man is now a teen, and he's in the children program, in the teens program. I remember him as a little boy in the children program, but sometimes he wasn't. And that's because he enjoys so much being on his own, sometimes with other boys, but I won't name any names, I know you're here. Just running around the monastery grounds, being in nature, skipping the children program. And more than once, I think the brother and the sisters and the friends that were guiding the programs are aware, but it's kind of like keep an eye on them, but just let them be. And so it's wonderful. It's wonderful to see that they are back as teens, as young adults. Seeing them here practicing alongside their parents makes me feel very joyful, and also knowing that they value the practice, and that the practice informs them, the practice help them navigate their lives now and also in the future. Last June we had a wake-up retreat, and I also met a young person, and he reminded me that he was also in the children program in the family retreat when he was little, and it's been 6 or 7 years that he hasn't gone back, and now he's in college, but he decided to come by himself on the wake-up retreat. So that meant something. That meant that the wholesome seeds were watered at a young age, and he found that the practice helped him. And now he found his way back and just be in the practice environment again as a young person. It's wonderful to see these fruits. The title of this retreat is Happiness is Here and Now. And this being the first talk, I was just going to talk about that. So happiness, and hopefully my monastic siblings in the subsequent talks will talk about more detail, more practices. We know that happiness is only one side of reality. But it's not a statement, huh? It is a practice. Our teacher, I remember one time said, more than one time, said, happiness is a habit. We are creatures of habits. We have good habits and bad habits, and habits that might not be either good or bad, beneficial or unbeneficial. But we function, we live our lives, we manifest habits, so habits manifest us. And happiness can be a habit, it can be cultivated. Usually we have the idea that it is something out there that we must work hard to reach. Somehow it's not innate, that we need more conditions for it to manifest. But practicing mindfulness, we will see that it's always been here. And it can be very simple. And if we know how to cultivate it often, it will become a habit of happiness. We are prone to a habit of suffering already, but we might not be prone, or we might not have the opportunity to cultivate joy and happiness in our lives. And it is possible to do so. There are at least 4 ways, and those of you who have been to our retreats and retreat with our teacher, I trust you have learned this already. But I would like to invite you to do an exercise together to illuminate at least 3 of the 4 ways of cultivating joy and happiness, if that's okay. It's very simple. So let us close our eyes. And as we hear one sound of the bell, we bring our attention to our in-breath and out-breath, like the children did earlier. We can invite a gentle smile to bloom on our lips to help us to relax. And as we hear the sound of the bell reverberating in the hall until it fades away, being aware of our breath, this is how we cultivate the energy of mindfulness. And with this sustained energy, concentration manifests. And with concentration, perhaps a little insight will also manifest. And it can be as simple an insight as, wow, I am still alive. How wonderful that is. Or, wow, I no longer have a cold. I can breathe in deeply this fresh mountain air this morning. Or, how wonderful it is to have my loved one beside me. Insight doesn't have to be grand. Insight can be as simple as that. And how can you not be joyful and happy when that insight surfaces? It is a joy to be alive. It is a joy to have a loved one by our side. It is a joy to breathe unhindered. It is a joy, as I would say, to not have a toothache. You hear those Dharma talks in the past. So let us listen to the sound of the bell and practice cultivating mindfulness, concentration, insight, however short the duration of the sound of the bell is, and see what comes up for you. Okay? Please enjoy. Would any one of you like to share with me how it went? Maybe shout out some insights in that short duration of practice. Just raise your hand and then speak loud if you can. Grateful for Grandma. Anybody else? I'm grateful that I can breathe out my nose. Anybody else? Yes. Rest and digest. Very happy when your digestive system functions well. One more? Just shout out, you don't have to wait for my eye contact. Can you, a little louder? Grateful for all the modern conveniences. Thank you. As we usually hear, mindfulness, concentration, and insight, they inter-are. And in one, the one contains the other two. So with just a simple exercise of mindful breathing, we can experience mindfulness, concentration, and insight. But if as we practice and our practice deepens, imagine the degree of concentration we can enjoy, the energy of awareness, the amount of insight that we can manifest in our own lives. And so these three things are already three ways of making happiness and joy possible. So I jot down 3 or 4, and we know that there are many ways of cultivating joy and happiness. We're just gonna focus on 4 of these. And like I said, the first 3 we somewhat experience a little bit in our exercise. When we practice mindfulness, I wrote right because I think yesterday Thepok Kong shared about mindfulness can be applied in the wrong way, which can bring more suffering. And so the word right. So these words, they're actually part of the Eightfold Path. If you study Buddhism, you are aware. And so we took it for granted that when we say mindfulness, then is implied that is right mindfulness. When we say concentration, it's implied as right concentration, and so forth. So practicing mindful breathing gives rise to mindfulness. And when you start prepping your mind with wholesome thoughts, with thoughts of compassion, lest you forget the gatha, just smile. Wake up, open your eyes, and just smile. I think Thầy shared, our teacher, that when he was younger, as a younger monk, he would hang a leaf on top of his mosquito net, living in Vietnam. So when he first opened, so he used the leaf as a reminder for him to recite the gatha. And so when he first opened his eye, he saw the leaf. Okay, practice. And so we can choose something in our environment to help remind us to practice smiling when we first wake up. Otherwise, our tendency is frowning. I caught myself more than a few times waking up and go into the bathroom, and when I look up in the mirror, I already see frowns right here. It's just so natural. I don't know, I don't know why. And I realized, yeah, because I didn't practice smiling when I was still lying in bed when I first opened my eyes. Yeah, and I think the frowns after years of being present, it's kind of imprint on my forehead. You might think, how come as a monk you have your forehead, you have frowns? But you just have to be a monk to know. But I am getting better. I'm able to, when I wake up in the morning now, I think usually projects or plans would jump immediately into my head as though they were just waiting there, and the moment I became conscious, they were just flooding in. But I was able lately to notice them and just smile. And that smile is like a miracle. It just dissipates all of those, and I have time to be in my body, do some stretches before I sit up and stand up. And then once I'm up, then I know what to do. I won't let those thinking take over. I go directly to wash my face, brush my teeth, and then I go directly to the tea table and fix me a cup of tea. And reminding myself that no thinking at this time, this is all I would do, just enjoy a cup of tea. And I go to meditation. And then after that, after breakfast, and then whatever wants to come in can come in. And it works wonder. I don't think it will erase my frown, but it will lessen its imprint. So why don't we practice with some gathas? We have a lot of gathas in our tradition to practice for every movement, for every things that we do with our body. I can share a few. There's a gatha for planting a tree, and we plant many trees here on Blue Cliff grounds in the spring and summer. And the gatha goes, I entrust myself to the earth, and she entrusts herself to me. I entrust myself to the Buddha, and she entrusts herself to me. And you can substitute Buddha with any spiritual leaders that you follow. And so when we do that, we consciously placing the plant into the earth and entrust that the earth will help the plant to grow. We will provide all the conditions that we know of to help the plant, but we have to have confidence in Mother Earth to do her wonders to the plant and the trees and the flowers. When we clean the restroom, if you're in the restroom team, you have a gatha to help you to do them more mindfully. How wonderful to scrub and clean. Day by day, my heart and mind grow clearer. Very simple. And if we stand in line holding a plate or a bowl before serving foods, looking at this plate, I see how fortunate I am to have enough to eat to continue my practice. And once you're seated with a plate or bowl full of food, you can recite another gatha. In this food, I see clearly the entire universe supporting my existence. So these little gathas, little poems, are means to help us to cultivate the energy of mindfulness. And with mindfulness comes concentration. And with concentration comes insight. Another concrete way of practicing mindfulness so that happiness and joy can be experienced, that is the practice of the 5 mindfulness trainings. They're concrete ways for us to cultivate this energy. Let us enjoy another sound of the bell. We can go a little bit into concentration as a practice to give rise to joy and happiness. We can contemplate, for example, a loved one who is still with us. We make that person an object of our meditation, of our concentration, of our sustained attention, of our focus. We might discover many things about this person and about ourselves. And that will give rise to appreciation, gratitude that the person is still with us. And knowing that, you cannot help but be joyful, appreciative, and happy. And those of you who have children know this very well. They grow up so fast. And if we're so busy, we will miss all those moments. But when we practice attentive concentration, when we practice mindfulness, we will be able to catch those moments so that when they grow up and grow out of our house, we don't miss them too much. Because we know we have all these beautiful memories that we experience together. We can practice concentration or contemplation on a loved one that is no longer with us, it's no longer alive. We do the same. We make that person an object of our meditation, of our attention, our focus. We will also discover many things about ourselves, about us, and about that person. Perhaps among them, treasured experiences, precious memories. And we can smile to that, knowing that those experiences were lived, and the memories were made, and we were there for that. And that's how we continue that person with memories and with treasured experiences. Mindfulness, when sustained naturally, become concentration. And when concentration is there, insight is there. An example that you usually hear is when you have a lake that is calm. First, you create a condition for it to be calm. And once it's calm, so creating a condition for it to be calm would be like practicing mindfulness. And when it's calm, that means concentration is present. And when the lake is calm, the surface is still, it will reflect everything. And if it's clear, you can actually see what's at the bottom too. And what you see is insight. I always like that image of a calm lake as to represent mindfulness, concentration, and insight. Now, what you find might not be what you want to find, but at least you know what is there. But in this talk, we're focusing on the happy side, happiness and joy. So when your mind is calm, when your mind is collected, when your mind is concentrated, insight will be born. Happiness will be present, joy will be present. The fourth one is actually, when our teacher gave this talk, is usually the first one, but I thought it's kind of to switch them a little bit, so it's sort of not to copycat my teacher. Joy and happiness born from the practice of letting go, a practice of releasing. What are we letting go of? Maybe the first thing that comes to mind is like objects, like things, material things. If we're one of those who like to collect stuff, we have a small house and we start buying and accumulating, and at some point it's like, oh, there's no more room. And then if we have conditions to get a larger house, the same thing happened after a while. Accumulation. Because we think that these things bring us happiness. Maybe at first, maybe a little bit. But then later on, the act of accumulation, the act of getting, becomes a habit. And we derive very little joy, but we don't know how to get out of it. And then our house becomes a storage house. I don't know if you noticed, but I noticed here there are a lot of the storage buildings up for rent. They build new ones for people to put their things in. I'm not sure why people store their things in there. They probably won't see those things like for many months, if not even years, but yet they're not able to let go. And the things that we hold on to might give us joy and happiness in the beginning, but at some point might hinder our happiness. So, do we have the courage of letting those things go? That is the question. In our community, the monastics we have a rule that we have to rotate roommates or rotate rooms every so often. And that is to help us to not get into the habit of accumulating stuff. Oh, I have this jacket, it's very warm, I'm gonna keep it. That's fine, one jacket. Someone else give us another jacket, we get some money to buy another, so now we have 3. But the first one was still good, so I wanna keep it. And then we have a 4th, a 5th, a 6th, the 10th. And then when we move rooms, it takes so much time and effort to box them up and move to another, to another room. And so we know if we're going to have to move every year, we're going to keep our things minimal. So you're going to have to waste so much time boxing and moving. But there are still those of us who like to collect things in the community. But I think from a different perspective, if we're able to share those things, then you're not in trouble. But if you're arguing them and not sharing them, then you're in trouble. So letting go of stuff can be a source of joy and happiness. And you can try and see. Maybe make a list of all the things that you think are essential for your well-being, for your happiness, and see if you can take, if you listed 10 things, see if you can take 3 out and still feel okay. Then that you're on the path of being able to practice the 4th ways. But there are other things besides stuff. Are we holding on to like an idea of what happiness is? We all have different ideas of what happiness is to us. But is that idea prevents you from actually feeling happy? It might take some time to contemplate. If they are we willing to let it go so that we can actually experience happiness and not just the idea? Some of us are caught or attached to ideas of happiness. If we already have something, we want to hold on to them. We don't, and this could be a thing or a person. We think that without this thing, without this person, we will suffer. We will not be happy. Maybe that very idea is what's keeping you from happiness. And just by letting go of the idea, we may experience happiness. Letting go of the past. If that past grabs hold of you and keeping you from experiencing life, experiencing joy. We might also have an idea of the things that we don't have but we want to have, because until we have them, we won't be happy. So this is about looking into the future, pulling the future. And again, it can be a person or a thing. If I can't have that person, if I can't have that thing, I won't be happy. I can't be happy. Let us reflect. Sometimes that very idea is the one that prevents us from happiness. And we may not sure that even if we get that thing, we get that person, we'll be happy. But we suffer the whole time until, and if we got there, so we're wasting our life. Tay has said, there's no way to happiness. Happiness is the way. That means we have to cultivate happiness. We have to practice being happy along the way, and not wait until we get there. I remember before I was a monk, working as a regular person in society, having a job, and I had an old car, and my dream was to get a new car. Say, this is my first job out of college, I should be able to drive a new car as a gift for myself. And I think that once I got that, I'll be very happy. And so I saved up my money, and sure enough, I bought a new car. And yes, I was happy, but it didn't last very long. It was very short-lived. To the point when I realized after a few months that all I did was driving that car to work. I did not have time to go anywhere else. I was so engrossed in work. I was forced to work more than I needed to. And I realized this whole new car, that's all I did. Just drove to work, parked it there 8-10 hours, and then drove home. I was too tired. I can't go anywhere. Then I realized, wow, and this is just a car. Just imagine some other objects of my desire. And so I felt, wow. So I sold that car. I bought an old car, and I was much happier. Some things like that, if we're not careful, we get caught in, and then we think that having things like that makes us happy. But in my case, it didn't, because I wasn't even enjoying using it. I would just use it to work. So let us reflect in our lives. Hopefully during this retreat, you have time to contemplate, to reflect on what your idea of happiness is, and whether it brings you happiness and joy, or the opposite. If it is, then cultivate it. But if it is not, then see if you can improve, see if you can transform, see if you can release it, so that you can truly experience happiness. And again, it's as simple as your in-breath and out-breath. Let us enjoy another sound of the bell. One other thing, and I remember our teacher also shared with us about this many times, and that is happiness is not an individual matter. I'm sure you've heard this before, especially those of you who are in relationships, those of you who are raising a family. When we have a family, when we have loved ones, their happiness is our happiness. Their difficulties, their suffering are our difficulties and suffering. And so when we make a change, we can make a change so that we can be happy. And then sometimes we might make a change so that they can be happy. So when in relationship and family life, the individual, sometimes we have to set ourselves aside and to bring happiness, to bring harmony to the whole family. I like to invite you to do a homework. Maybe today, at some moments of leisure. I know those of you who have children, it's hard to come by. But see if you can jot down a few things that you think might be obstructing you from experiencing happiness. Like I shared, maybe it's an idea, or maybe it's a situation, or maybe it's a thing. And ponder about them and see once you're either here or once you get home, back into your home environment, see if you can effect some change, something to make the situation better. Something that you can let go of so that you can feel more happy. And then the Dharma sharing session, a very good opportunity for us to discuss this more. If you have questions or you have things to share for your Dharma sharing family members. Another thing that I remember Thầy said is that when we know this, as practitioners, we can cultivate joy and happiness anytime we like, at any moment. If we didn't know, then we struggle. But once we know and we apply them, we can touch happiness and joy any moment. Even in difficult situations, we can touch joy and happiness. So let us not forget that. I like to end by reading for you one of our teacher's poems. It's called The Good News. The good news, they do not print. The good news, we do print. We have a special edition every moment, and we need you to read it. The good news is that you are alive, that the linden tree is still there, standing firm in the harsh winter. The good news is that you have wonderful eyes to touch the blue sky. The good news is that your child is there before you, and your arms are available. Hugging is possible. They only print what is wrong. Look at each of our special editions. We always offer the things that are not wrong. We want you to benefit from them and help protect them. The dandelion is there by the sidewalk. Smiling is wondrous smile, singing the song of eternity. Listen, you have ears that can hear it. Bow your head, listen to it. Leave behind the world of sorrow, a preoccupation, and get free. The latest good news is that both you and I can do it. Thank you for your presence. We'll listen to 3 sounds of the bell.